I always thought the most hidden thing my wife could keep from me was a secret bank account. But I never expected to find a hidden recording device active for 2 whole years, taped beneath our 5-year-old daughter's hospital bed. Hey Reddit, I need to get this off my chest because my entire life just flipped upside down in less than 48 hours, and I'm currently writing this from a cheap motel room with shaking hands. My name is Ethan. Until last Tuesday, everyone in New York knew me as an ordinary struggling night shift janitor at a local high school. I made about $32,000 a year, wore shoes with holes in them, and lived in a damp, rented basement apartment with my wife, Vanessa. Vanessa and I have been married for 5 years. For the last 2 years, our lives have been incredibly difficult. Not because we were poor, but because our daughter, Lily, was diagnosed with a rare heart condition. The medical bills completely crushed us. It was a brutal financial gridlock. Vanessa constantly reminded me of my failures. She hated our cramped basement. She hated that she had to wear cheap clothes, and she constantly complained, reminding me how her sister's husband was a corporate lawyer buying mansions in Long Island while I was cleaning floors. I felt like an absolute failure, honestly. I loved my family, so I tolerated the verbal abuse. I took double shifts, working 16 hours a day, skipped my own meals, and gave every single penny to Vanessa for Lily's treatments. I was physically and mentally exhausted, living in a constant trap of anxiety. But 3 months ago, the atmosphere in our home suddenly shifted. Vanessa stopped complaining about the bills. In fact, she stopped caring about my existence altogether. That's when the unexplained absences started. Vanessa began volunteering for late-night hospital shifts to watch over Lily. But whenever I arrived at the hospital at 6 a.m. to relieve her, she would smell of expensive, high-end perfume that cost more than my weekly salary. Whenever I asked her about it, she just whispered a vague excuse about a friend gifting it to her, glancing away from my eyes. A cold shiver ran down my spine every single night when her phone buzzed with encrypted notifications. She started keeping her screen face down, locked with a biometric password I wasn't allowed to know. I tried to convince myself I was just being paranoid. Trust is everything when your child is sick, right? But deep down, the air became suffocating. Then came the first major clue. It was a freezing, rainy Tuesday afternoon. Vanessa was supposedly at home resting. I was sitting by Lily's hospital bed while she was sleeping. Her favorite teddy bear fell off the bed. As I reached down under the metal frame to pick it up, my fingers brushed against something hard and metallic taped to the dark underside of the bed lining. It wasn't a loose bolt. My heart hammered as I pulled it off. It was a tiny, black, blinking, high-frequency audio transmitter and GPS tracker. It was a chilling discovery. Why was my wife bugging our sick daughter's hospital room? What was she tracking? Was she monitoring me? Or worse, was she tracking Lily's schedule to know exactly when the room would be empty? Instead of confronting her and blowing my cover, I decided to play her own game. I left the tracker exactly where it was. I walked out, took a bus to a public library, and logged into our old shared cloud drive from a public computer. Vanessa had forgotten that her phone backup was still linked to our old tablet account. That's when I saw the synced audio files and text messages. They were from a man named Julian, a wealthy, elite cardiothoracic surgeon at the very same hospital where my daughter was admitted. The messages were explicit, cold-blooded, and completely heartbreaking. But one specific audio log from the hidden tracker caught my attention. I played it, and Julian's voice echoed through my headphones. "Is the janitor husband still working the night shift?" And my wife Vanessa's laughter followed, sharp and mocking. "Yes, he's cleaning toilets right now to pay for our daughter's room. The tracker shows he's at the school. Come over to my office, the coast is clear." He has no idea we are using his insurance and his tears to fund our little vacations. My entire reality shattered into a million pieces. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was using our daughter's sickness and my absolute misery as a joke to entertain her wealthy partner. But as I sat there in that dim library staring at the glowing screen, a cold, dark smile crept across my face. Because Vanessa and Julian had absolutely no idea who they were actually messing with. They thought they were robbing a pathetic, broke man of his dignity. They didn't know the forbidden truth about my real legal identity. You see, everyone in New York knows me as Ethan, the broke school janitor. But my legal name is Ethan Vance III. Yes, that Vance family. My father founded Vance Global Securities, one of the most powerful hedge funds on Wall Street. When my parents tragically passed away in a private jet crash 6 years ago, they left me a sole inheritance worth approximately $1.4 billion. But my father was a deeply cynical man who hated gold diggers. His will contained one strict condition. I could not inherit or touch a single cent of that wealth until my 31st birthday, or until I had completed 5 consecutive years of marriage to a woman who loved me for my soul, completely unaware of my billionaire status. He wanted me to experience real humanity before handing over the empire. My 31st birthday and our 5th wedding anniversary was exactly 48 hours away. For 5 years, I lived like a beggar. I swept floors, breathed in chemical bleach, and starved myself to test the woman I thought was my soulmate. I had already planned the grand reveal for our anniversary. I had already purchased a private estate in Miami, hired top international heart surgeons for Lily, and drafted papers to transfer $50 million directly into Vanessa's personal account as a reward for her loyalty. But she couldn't hold on for 2 more days. She chose a flashy hospital doctor over a man she thought was broke. The financial gridlock I had pretended to live in was about to end with a vengeance. I didn't rush to the hospital. I didn't scream. I used a private burner phone to contact my family's multi-million-dollar corporate law firm downtown. I handed them over every single text, the audio files from the hidden tracker, and the undeniable proof of her infidelity. Because New York has strict fault-based legal precedents regarding marital fraud and assets, her actions ensured she would leave with absolutely zero alimony. On the morning of our 5th anniversary, my 31st birthday, Vanessa was packing her bag, pretending she had an early shift. She didn't even look at me. "Vanessa, wait," I said calmly, sitting on our worn-out plastic chair. "I know about the transmitter under Lily's bed, and I know about Julian." She froze. The color instantly drained from her face. She dropped her designer purse, her hands trembling violently. She tried to stammer a lie. "Ethan, it's not what it looks like. Julian was just helping me with the medical discounts. You never provide enough for us." "I know," I replied, my voice dangerously quiet. "You wanted a man with real power, right? You wanted luxury." Right at that exact second, the heavy wooden door of our basement apartment was completely opened by 2 tall men in tailored charcoal suits, my family's private executive protection. Behind them walked my primary estate trustee, holding a sleek carbon fiber briefcase. They stepped into the messy, small room. The trustee bowed deeply to me and said, "Happy 31st birthday, Mr. Vance. The ancestral trust restrictions have officially expired as of 9 a.m. today. Your accounts are fully active. The board awaits your command." Vanessa's eyes went completely wide. "Mr. Vance, trust. What is this joke?" My lawyer stepped forward, pulled out a certified stamped document from the Federal Reserve, and laid it on our greasy kitchen table. The liquid balance on the top sheet read $1,412,980,000. "Vanessa," I said, my voice sending a chilling echo through the room. "Meet my real self. I'm a billionaire. This entire broke life was a test. Today was the day I was going to fly Lily to Switzerland for her permanent cure. This briefcase contains the deed to a $20 million estate that was supposed to be yours today." She stared at the numbers, then at the security team, then at me. She literally dropped to her knees on the dirty floor, sobbing, grabbing my worn-out boots, saying that she made a mistake, that she loved me, that Julian forced the situation. "It's too late," I said, pulling my foot away. My lawyer handed her the immediate eviction and divorce papers. That was 3 days ago. I moved Lily into the highest-end private medical suite in the city under 24-hour armed guard. Vanessa is completely broke, evicted, disgraced, and Julian's medical license is currently being reviewed by my lawyers for ethics violations. It felt like a perfect, clean victory. But last night, something happened that completely destroyed my peace of mind. My tech team officially decrypted the internal manufacturing database of that tiny tracker I found under Lily's hospital bed. They wanted to see when Julian had purchased it. But when the data logs flashed on my screen, my blood ran completely cold. Julian had only bought his tracking subscription 3 months ago. However, the hardware chip embedded inside that specific device showed it had been hardwired, broadcasting and streaming live audio of my entire life for 5 consecutive years. Long before Lily ever got sick. Long before I even met Vanessa. Julian didn't plant that device to hide an affair. Someone else had placed it there the exact day I signed my wedding certificate 5 years ago. Someone knew my real identity from the very beginning and was waiting for me to fail. And as I sit here in my heavily fortified locked penthouse tonight, I just heard the faint, terrifying sound of a familiar text notification buzz coming from inside my daughter's locked, empty toy box. What should I do next, Reddit? Who is watching me? Drop your theories in the comments right now, because I don't know who to trust anymore. See you in part 2, if I survive the night.